Okay, thinking of Women's History Month, magazine for today is this one called Animal Helper. This is a world-famous scientist, Jane Goodall, on the front cover. And the caption, remember caption for Hawks United? Ms. Sorensen was teaching about captions if you were able to come to Hawks United before. It says, Jane Goodall is a scientist. She studied chimpanzees for many years. Find out about her work. And way up at the top it says, Jane Goodall carries a chimpanzee in Zambia, Africa. The inside has the text boxes. It has the boxes with text. Some of them have it in them, and then the text nearby to match. If you could have your red, I think a marker would be good on this paper, a red marker and purple punctuation, a black labeling line marker, and then orange, we might do some orange words. Okay, at the top in dark black, remember, I always like these magazines because they do something creative. This kind of has some nice jungle overhanging leaves across the top. In black print it says, let's fold this in half, please, so I can hold it better. Making a difference. Jane Goodall is a scientist. Many years ago, she went to Africa to study chimpanzees in the wild. She was one of the first women to do so, to do that kind of work. She has helped chimpanzees and other animals. I think today, just to make it easier for the reading and the work, I'm just going to, you can either pause the video and then do your underlining and punctuation and labeling, or you could do that at the end after I finish reading, just to make the video a little bit clearer and cleaner and shorter. Okay, in the purple box, it says, Goodall has always special friends. Goodall has always loved animals. She made up her mind to study them. And you can see a picture of her as a very little girl hugging a monkey, stuffy or doll that she had. And interesting to see that she did that as a child, but then she grew up to become a world-famous scientist. In the blue box and the blueprint, it says, Chimps at Work. Goodall learned many things about chimpanzees. She found out that they use tools. And actually this photo this work is very famous in particular because many people and scientists around the world did not think that animals, and especially primates, chimpanzees and gorillas, used tools, that they were not that smart. But I've seen a famous video of a gorilla doing the same thing as this chimpanzee is doing, taking a stick, putting it into a hole, waiting, and then taking it out, and there were ants around the stick that the gorilla then ate. So the gorilla, and in this photo the chimpanzee, chose to use a stick as a tool to get more food. And that was really a big breakthrough in science to see that chimpanzees, gorillas, primates were using tools to help themselves to find more food. Okay, let's look at the orange box at the bottom. The title says, In the Field. Goodall moved to Africa when she was 26 years old. She began to study chimpanzees. She studied baboons too. Here she is very quietly sitting. And there are some videos, if you ask your parents to maybe help you look on the internet. There's famous videos of her doing kind and thoughtful things to earn the trust of the animals. You can see how close she's sitting. That's unusual for a wild animal, to allow a person to come that close to them without running away or harming them. And she earned the trust by remaining silent, by remaining quiet, by giving them their space to be their animal selves and not try to adversely impact their environment, which means do something that would frighten them or harm them. I'm going to move to this side. It's the green box, helping the earth. Goodall now travels around the world to protect animals. She talks to young people. She teaches them how to care for the earth. Everyone has a role to play and can make a difference, she says. There she is. I had the really excellent opportunity to listen to her once. She came to Seattle probably about 10 years ago, and she spoke at the Paramount Theater downtown, and I bought a ticket. I know how important she is in impacting and helping our world to be a better place for the animals that we share the earth with. She was a fascinating, brilliant, compelling person to listen to and watch. And how she exited the stage is one of the most memorable things I've seen a person do. Okay, at the bottom, there's a magenta box, and it says, there are about 150,000 chimpanzees in the world. There used to be many more chimps. Their homes are being cut down and lost. It's because people's impact in the environment can affect animals' homes and habitats. When people cut down jungles and forests and lands where animals are living, the animals have to find someplace else where they're not able to survive in what used to be their home. And I just noticed here in the how many blue oval box, there's some tally marks there, some tally work, which is going to come back in the next day or two. Okay. How did Jane Goodall leave the stage when she was finished with her speech? After speaking for about 90 minutes, Jane Goodall then took a little bit of a rest, and then she took questions from the audience. Beside her on the table, next to the chair she was sitting in with the person who was helping her speak to the crowd. It's called an MC, so that person was reading the questions or interviewing Jane Goodall. Jane Goodall spoke about water use on the planet and how some countries and people use too much water or abuse the water by sometimes being dumping things in them or making the water polluted, not being respectful for the Earth's resources. And she sipped her glass of water during the speech and presentation. She refilled it when she needed more. And then when she was finished and stood up, we all were so appreciative of how she spoke to us and inspired us to think about our Earth in a different way. It was very, very moving to see someone who cares so much about something other than herself. And then when she started to walk off the stage, she stopped and came back, picked up her water glass and said, water should never be wasted. And then she carried the water off with her instead of just leaving it there, which some people, would have done. And that little gesture told me that we all can do something to help each other and to help the world. So thank you, Jane Goodall, for being a wonderful inspiration.